Good evening, lovely YouTubers. White Mexican back in for another video today. I'm going to be reviewing a plethora of stuff today, so we're just going to go ahead and get things kick-started with a very nostalgic, amazing Generation 1 core set. Of course, like always, I'm a really big avid fan of these old school cards. So we're going to start with Legacy of Darkness. Of course, we have the infamous legendary Yatagarasu. So much amazing nostalgic history to this card. First editions are ridiculously expensive. Everyone knows that it's been expensive for quite a while now. Not going to really go too far into that, as well as Injection Fairy Lily, but Injection Fairy Lily is a little bit more attainable right now, at least at this point in time. This is the highest rarity original prints, dawning as a secret rare, and me personally, this is like my favorite anime girl slash like cutesy card out of like the entire game of Yu-Gi-Oh! A lot of people like Dark Magician Girl, which is, it's all right, but Injection Fairy Lily is definitely my number one personally. So going ahead here, we're gonna take a look, try to see if we can find some first editions. It looks like there's 4 pages on the market here. Get our first editions on the second page, and they're already starting off at almost 39 bones, and it quickly just trickles up to about 45 at the bottom of the second page, and there's only 4 pages left. Incredible. So I remember back in like 2016 was probably like 2015, 2016 was like the era I started collecting first edition original prints of Fairy Lily, and I was remembering I was buying these like left and right for like 11, 14, 16 range. 14 was like kind of like the average price point for a really long time, for quite a while for this card, and it's been just slowly trickling up and up and up, as everyone probably knew it would, because it's got really great history too. Back in when this set was new, a very long time ago, because this is an ancient set, it was a very well used card. And obviously for its artwork alone, its own merit is just fantastic for collectors. We have Air Knight Parashaft. So this is a goat control card, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't around for goat control, but I heard it's pretty infamous. A lot of people talk about it. It's really popular. So it's just a general good card in I think any kind of monster card, or really any card in general, as long as there isn't too much of a nasty stipulation that allows you to draw cards from your deck, is great. Just a great resource contributor. First edition we're going to get here is going to be about 25 bones, and only 2 pages left, and bottoms out at about 45 at the bottom of the first page. This is, again, original print as an ultra rare. This is the highest rarity of this. I think there's like a Dark Beginning super rare, which is like the second place of this card, but obviously everyone's going to want the original first edition prints, which look fantastic. Fiber Jar, this is currently a banned card. It's been banned forever. This is like the ultimate reset button of the game. Pretty interesting artwork here. And again, I'm a big Anit fan that everything comes off the ban list eventually. It's just a matter if it gets errated or not. It's my personal belief on forbidden ban cards. Let's see if we can find a first edition here. There's no first editions on the first 2 pages. First editions are going to dawn on the 3rd page, and they start out at 19 bones, which really isn't too bad for what this card is. And then it bottoms out at about 50 towards the end of the 3rd page. So kind of expensive, a little bit more expensive than it was before, but I definitely see this card going up again. It's going to be a collector's card. It's an infamous card. It's been banned forever, and it is extremely ancient, and this is the highest rarity. So 20 bones for a copy of that lightly played first edition is not sounding too bad, in my personal opinion. Alright, so moving down the line here, we have Marauding Captain, and this is just an amazing card. There's an old school combo with this, where if you normal summon one and you have another one in your hand, you special summon it, and they basically lock each other out and your opponent can't attack. There's also another old school combo with is it Blade Knight or Command Knight? You can do the same thing with this card as well, which I'm actually curious, really quick, it's been a while, I want to see what the 10 promo secret rares are going for. So we'll get to that in a minute. But anyway, that's an old school combo. You can lock it out and basically do like a mirrored defense. First edition is going to start out at 30 bones, and then they trickle all the way up to 41 at the bottom of the first page, and there's only 2 pages of this. So there's other rarities to this, like there's a Hobby Lake Parallel Ultra Rare, but this is always going to be considered the most rare and highest rarity because it's the original print. And Legacy of Darkness was just, it was such a huge game changer for the state of the era back then. And there's just, again, the Yadalock and all that. And really, this Yadalock just blew up like crazy when we got Invasion of Chaos a couple sets later. With, you know, original Chaos Emperor Dragon and Sangan and Witch and all that. And it was just really good times. Creature Swap is going to be next. This is one of my favorite Magic cards. Probably my second favorite Magic card. The other one I'm going to review shortly here is going to be Reinforcements of the Army, which is really great. Generic Searcher, but Creature Swap's really great. Love the artwork. Last time I checked, there wasn't too many first editions on the market here. The first one we're going to see on the first page is going to be about 14.5. And then trickles up to almost about 15. Only 3 pages left of this. So for a little while, this card went up like crazy high. I think it was like 50, 60, because there was just none on the market. It got chewed up really bad, and there just wasn't any on the market. No one was really flooding the market with this card, so it's really nice to see it go down to about a 16-ish, roughly, price point, because, again, I think anything under 20 for a card like that is a fantastic buy, too, because it's an amazing card, and it's really old, and it's definitely the collectability being the original print and highest rarity that we have currently in the TCG. So I'm going to kind of turbo through the rest of this. You guys can kind of decipher what you guys want to take a look at here. Obviously, the top 4 right here and these 2 as well are pretty big for me in particularly. Last Turn has really great artwork, and I think it's going to hold some pretty great collectability because the Last Turn deck, I'm pretty sure this is still banned if I'm not mistaken, was pretty infamous. I do want to review Reinforcements of the Army because this is one of the all-time like best generic searchers in all of the game like ever. Level 4 is a huge predominant in the game state, and there's tons and tons of warrior archetypes and builds out there, so this is just really great. Plus, it has Marauding Captain in it, and it's got really cool artwork. And it's just an original print, super rare. So several different versions of this, but this is always going to be for collectability purposes and personally my favorite print. And for the longest time, like these were like 5 bones, like all across the board for the first edition, which just blew my mind away because this is not only an amazing collector's card, it's also just an extremely playable card. And it is hit on to 1 on the ban list just because it's so good. But it's only about 6 right now. So it hasn't gone too far up, about 6. There's a 2, not really any stacks that I can see, but it's about 6, pretty much all across the board, and then slowly starts to trickle up after that. So there's a few left here. This is definitely attainable. If you guys don't have at least one of these, I would definitely recommend getting one of these original prints, just because it's a great card to play, but it's going to go up, and you can already see here there's only 3 pages on the market, and this being the original print, first editions exclusively, are going to be increase in value, like undoubtedly. It's just like one of those things. It kind of reminds me of like Giant Tornado, Heavy Storm, and of course the highly anticipated Harpy's Feather Duster. Everyone has been stocking, piling those like crazy. I'm also an avid fan that Harpy's Feather Duster is going to come off the list, so I've been personally collecting the Parallel Prismatic Secret Rare game promos, but those are my favorite versions. So these are, I guess, apparently Balter and Zenshi is both Go cards 2, apparently. I don't really know. It's kind of watered down now. Pretty cool artwork, though, so you guys can check these out. These are pretty cool. This Fiend Skull Dragon has got really cool artwork, too. I would just more so call these collector's cards because of their age, and their artwork is really great. Cool story about After the Struggle. There's an alternate print. I don't really know exactly what changed the name, but After Genocide. I don't know if After the Struggle. I think After the Struggle was the reprint, and then the original print was After the Genocide, and then I think the TCG wanted to censor the word genocide, so they switched it to After the Struggle, but I'm pretty sure that's how it goes. I only have, I think, 1 copy of the Genocide one, but it's kind of a fun history story about that. Again, I don't really know. I've kind of heard bits and pieces of it, and it's been a very, very long time since I've picked this card up, but the After Genocide one, I know that is the more rare one, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the original name, and I think it only comes first edition print. Exile Force is going to be next. So this is a pretty watered down card now. It's pretty generic. It's just a 1-for-1. But it's got really cool artwork, and back in the day, this card was like really devastating. You could do a lot with this, and there was a lot of warrior-eccentric decks back in the day, just like there is now. Warriors always just been like dragon spellcasters, fiends, and warriors. There's always just like amazing support for those archetypes. Konami never fails to deliver for those archetypes. Only 2 pages of this, no first editions on the first page, and the first editions are about 5 bones. So this is still very, very attainable, and it bounds out at about 20. But again, there's not really a lot of fat stacks. There's a 6 of, that's the very last one. All these other ones are 1-ofs. I personally have a few of these first edition, and I don't regret it at all. Again, like the artwork and just the sheer age of this card, and it's a simple just 1-for-1. Is really cool, and there's just a lot of great history behind this card. Like all these cards, just because of the era, this being Generation 1 Yu-Gi-Oh! Like Duel Monsters, like the genesis of the game here. For me, you know, I live in the United States, so here in the United States, it was a really big deal for a lot of people. And now, I mean, we're talking about like maybe 2003, 2004 era, if that, maybe even earlier. So we're talking about, this was like 16, 17 years ago. So a lot of people that played the game originally are, you know, probably in their at least 20s by now, if not maybe even early 30s or maybe even older. This was always considered, in my opinion, kind of like an advanced game. Of course, everyone like watched the anime and like they had the structure deck, the starter decks back then, and people kind of just traded and collected the cards and whatever played on their school, the school park yards or whatever, and threw these in their backpacks. But a lot of the crowd, you know, the competitive play when the genesis of this game was from older people in high school, and I want to say probably even in college too, and some of the working class, and it's been growing like crazy. Bottomless Trap Hole, this is pretty cool. This is the OG one, but there's also I think it's Legendary Collections 3 or 4 has a secret rare reprint which looks really great, and there's also an ultra rare reprint as well. Luster Dragon number 2. So I've invested very heavily in this card. I think that this is a prime target for collector's value. Now, it's not the most famous card from the set, but it is a super hollow foil, and I think it has fantastic artwork. I really, really love like the crystals coming out of the dragon shear here, and I can't really explain like anything else. I don't foresee this seeing any kind of like portable play or anything like that anytime soon. I didn't notice this before, but there's like a green moon in the background, and it took me a while to notice it. For the longest time, I just kind of thought that was like a smudge in the background, but there's a really cool full green moon in the background, which is really nice, and that's at least how I interpret the artwork. So I really love the artwork. I base my investments off this because of how old it is, the first edition, of course, and the artwork. And for the longest time, the first editions were very, very cheap. They're like $1 or $2. There's 5 pages still on the market, so there's still pretty good availability. The first edition we're getting here, it's a 1 stack for about 2+, and yeah, lock, good times. And moving on to the 3rd page, there's going to be a couple more that trickle up to almost about 3 if you factor in shipping. And you can kind of notice here, there's not really a lot of stacks anymore. Here's a stack here for about 3+. There's a 4 of, so that might be a little bit more of an ideal choice. I personally go for stacks myself. I don't really like to just do these onesie twosies. It's easier to buy in bulk. And there's 5 pages left of this. So I think this is kind of a hidden gem. It's definitely one of the cheaper hollow foils from the set, dawning as a super rare. And again, I think eventually it doesn't really matter. Like with these cards being, you know, almost 2 decades old now, all these cards are going up in value. More specifically, for the first edition, Spear Dragon's pretty cool too. Cool artwork. The Warrior Returning Alive. This is really great. This is my favorite print of this. And really quickly, I want to take a look at Two-Headed Behemoth. So this has really cool artwork too. Back in the day, this effect was really blowout. It's really not that big of a deal anymore. But again, this is kind of just one of those like low-key super rares that everyone kind of just like looks over. And you know, it's a dragon. It's a level 3, and again, like its effect is really not good in modern day play. But the sheer fact that this card is so old and the first edition prints are definitely going to see some price increase. They're like, you know, here's one for about like 2 bones if you want to do the shipping. On the third page, they get to around 3, but you'll look that there's no stacks. There's no fat stacks. The only stack is right here. Yadalok again, I like this guy's name, for 3 bones. So it's definitely like all these cards just naturally. These cards are not necessarily being redistributed very quickly on the market. Probably the majority of these cards are either just destroyed because back in the genesis of the game, people really didn't know how or didn't really think about taking care of their cards, and you know, a lot of the game player base was relatively younger outside of the competitive play, and a lot of these are just like locked up in people's basements, shipped up in boxes and attics, or you know, in like garage sales or whatever. It's always been like a really cool thought that, you know, to stumble upon someone's collection, like long lost collection, and pick it up like super cheap. That's always been like a really, like, I guess, like fantasy of mine. I've always wanted to like pick up someone's collection super cheap in like a garage sale or at like a secondhand store or whatever. They just really don't know what it's worth. I think that would be like really, really cool. Drop off is pretty cool. I used to play this old school hand destruction deck with this. First editions are started pretty cheap as well. Royal Impression. This is an amazing band card. I'm really just gonna click on it really quick. This is super old, so you guys probably don't remember, depending on when you came into the game, what this card does. Really amazing card, though. Definitely think that it can come off the ban list. Will get errated, maybe, maybe not. There's so many different mysteries that goes around Konami and their selections, their ban list. I personally wouldn't go for this. There is a dual terminal common print, which is definitely going to be superior to this in every way, but if that gets too expensive, an original print first edition will do finely as a healthy alternative. Alright, so continuing on here, I think that's going to be probably one of the last ones. Okay, so here it is. Here's After Genocide. So just out of curiosity, I want to go ahead and take a look at the price points for this. Now, I thought this was, the original name was for first edition exclusive. We'll kind of see here what's on the market. So it definitely wasn't just, I was definitely wrong on the first edition exclusive, because there's plenty of unlimiteds here. Looks like there's 5+ pages. Let's see if we can find some first editions. So Dolly's Toys and Games actually has a 5-stack for 20, so that's pretty cool. Kind of unfortunate that it wasn't restricted to first edition prints only, but this card is still really cheap. And again, I don't remember exactly how the history breaks down, but there's a really cool story behind this and the censorship of the name. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, this was the original one, but they didn't like the word genocide, and they ended up changing it to struggle later on. But really, really cool. Honestly, just because it's so cheap, and here's a 5-stack, like, I would not be surprised. This is a really good investment. Like, honestly, like, I'm probably, if this is still around in a bit, I'm gonna buy this out. I'm gonna buy all of these, because for what it is, I think stories and kind of name changes and card changes from the manufacturers adds a lot of value and good history to cards, and that's just my personal belief. I think this is going to go up. Like, this being 2 dimes for a card with history like this that's got a little story behind it. Of course, again, specifically for the first edition prints, you have to go first edition prints. The majority of my content is for collector's base. I don't really do like a whole lot of meta cards. As you can see, I don't really review a lot of the newer stuff, but there's plenty of content creators out there that flood the market with the mainstream stuff. So I really try to kind of give you guys a little different perspective, a little nostalgic, kind of go down memory lane and do a little bit of classic stuff as well. Generation 1 is definitely by far my favorite. Shadow Tamer and Thunder Nyan Nyan, these are pretty cool. They're censored very heavily in the TCG. Lesser Fiend was as well. The original artworks of this from OCG in Japan looks just so much better, so I really don't kind of mess with these. But back in the day, 100 Nyan Nyan was actually used in Chaos, original Cookie Cutter Chaos and all that, at least in the early stages, so that was pretty cool. So that's going to be it for Legacy of Darkness. Well, really quickly, I wanted to show you guys. So it's been a while. A couple videos back, I took a look at this card, more specifically for the highest rarity, which was the tin promo, which is very old too. I think these tins, 2004. So yeah, this was still like some of the first tins that hit the game. There's also a Dark Beginning super rare, which is kind of cool, but it's definitely not going to outbeat, in my personal opinion. Even though this is a tin promo, it's still very much a secret rare and higher rarity. Pretty cool artwork on this, and again, this is basically just like the same thing as Marauding Captain, where you can slap 2 on the board and you basically just do a mirror lockout and your opponent can't attack. And it's pretty cool with classic combo. This is still extremely cheap. It's like just barely $1 without factoring shipping, and there's still 4 pages left of this card. Alright, so the next set that I want to review, kind of go into depth here, is going to be the 100 card set Dual Terminal 2. Not too long ago, I reviewed pretty in detail Dual Terminal 1. I'm a huge fan of Dual Terminal. Everyone knows, or everyone should know, I hope you know, Dual Terminal is gone. It's bye-bye. Konami is no longer producing Dual Terminal machines or the Dual Terminal rarity. Now, we had several years back the battle packs that kind of tried to like secretly bring these rarities back, but I really did not like the whole battle pack setup, and there really was not great cards in those sets. There was few to none cards that made really good selections. I just don't think are going to hold very good value. Whereas Dual Terminal, there were several Dual Terminal sets, and again, this being one of the earlier ones, only being the second one, it's definitely a lot older than some of the other sets. And this ran very close parallel with Hidden Arsenal. You notice Hidden Arsenal is an all-foil set, has supers and secret rares, and a lot of the cards that were printed in the Hidden Arsenal sets kind of mirror through and got transitioned into Dual Terminal as well, which I thought was kind of interesting. But so there's Materia Beast, of course. This card is just amazing. Like any kind of version of this, you guys need to get this card. It is probably one of, by far, I mean, there's Six Samurai Shien. That's probably, in my opinion, the best level 5 synchro of all time. I don't think there's ever going to be a level 5 that's going to beat Legendary Six Samurai Shien. But Materia Beast, definitely, you can use it more. It's not a once per turn, so I would have to give the synchro level 5 spot to Materia Beast. There isn't a synchro card that has matched the powerhouse of this card. So this is really great. This is the highest rarity, but there's tons of different rarities available, so you can get this card really cheap. But obviously this is the highest rarity, so it's really expensive. Tiger King's going up too. It's got really cool artwork. You have Mist Valley, Apex Avion, Fabled Velcro. So they're pretty cool. I want to talk about Materia Rose Whip. So I'm an avid anti-meta player, and sometimes I check in one of these, and this card's really great because there's cards that I'm going to show you later on in this video that you can mix up with this card to make it very sustainable. This is the highest rarity. I'm pretty sure there's only on the original prints or the other print, which is a super rare from one of the Hidden Arsenals, but this is the highest rarity as a rare from Dual Terminal 2, and these cards are almost $6, and then they bottom out at $15, and there's just 2 in 1 stack, so there's really not a whole lot on the market. This is a fantastic card. I don't even know if I even have these. I know this card used to be significantly higher when people started to kind of talk about it and mix it more into gameplay, and then kind of went away and people forgot a bit about it, as much with like a lot of cards, and it kind of trickled down to this price point now. So I know of a couple super rares first edition, but as far as the Dual Terminals, I kind of wanted to get it at a time when it was still relatively popular. It was kind of starting to get some heat from the market, so I think I kind of backed out. I don't really remember if I ended up investing in a couple sets of these, but I hope I did. I'll have to check my inventory when I get back home. Fabled Velcro, this has really cool artwork, and this is an ultra rare, so anything that is a hollow foil, like a super rare and above, or even a rare, really puts some great emphasis on values for these cards. Like Card Trooper, like this is a really great card too. Some people say this is kind of like obsolete. No one really runs this anymore. I'm not really sure why, because I still think that it's a fantastic card because, you know, it does the pitching from the deck, and then there's a draw. It's got a draw effect at the when it's a second effect. Artwork is fantastic. Stats are pretty good for what it is. This is like a classic old school like Generation 1 Lightsworn deck card. You can see Lightsworn stuff being featured here. There's only one left and it's 20 bones, so that doesn't surprise me at all, especially seeing how this is a super rare. There also is secret rare versions from one of the legendary collections. I want to say it's Legendary Collections Relentless Revenge, I think, which look very, very nice too. So seeing how the dual terminal super is kind of like bought out or gone, the secret rares are definitely very, very affordable, healthy alternatives. Next card I want to talk about, so kind of on the same realms of Materia Rosewhip, basically does the same thing, but you can special summon this card from the hand. Now, it is a level 7, it's a spellcaster, it's a water, not the best stats for a level 7. Fantastic artwork. I really love the artwork of this card. And again, it is a dual terminal card. There is also, I want to say, either super or secret. I'm pretty sure it's super rare versions in one of the hidden arsenal sets. But this is the best as a dual terminal common. And for a while, there was kind of some hype behind this too. A couple years back, this got some heat and kind of went away from the market, and everyone again kind of fell out of the spotlight, fell out of favor of the players. But still, there's only one page left. It's already up to about 3 again. It's about 4 for this 4 stack. So I'm really debating if I want to get this card or not, because it's definitely nowhere as expensive as it was. I think they already had it up to like 15, 20 when there was an initial buyout, or at least kind of like, you know, the grand purge, eradication of this card. Everyone kind of ran to this card because it's relatively splashable and it's just got a generically great effect. So I'm gonna leave it up to you guys. I really don't know. This 4 stack right here for 4 for 4 is looking pretty good. It's kind of hard because this card used to, like, before it got kind of like hyped up a couple years ago, it was like even cheaper. So it's kind of like painful to pay 4 for it. But at the same time, it's a great card. It really is a great card and does have potential to go up. And you can flip that 4 into maybe 12 or 15, maybe. It's done it before, but you know, sometimes history repeats itself, sometimes it doesn't. It all just depends on what's going on. Enemy controller is pretty great too. There's also secret rare prints from Legendary Collection Kaiba, which look really great. So if these get a little too expensive, I'd definitely pick up some from Legendary Collection Kaiba. Of course, we also have the original Ultras from Ancient Sanctuary, which are, you know, the highest for collectability rarities. Next card is going to be Miss Valley Baby Rock. I really like this card a lot. This card was like really good money too. I'm really curious to see what its price point is at now, because I remember I wanted to get this card and it's gone down. So this is great. This is just a great generic Wing Beast level 2 tuner. The biggest thing is that this is a tuner. It's got pretty cool artwork too. I like the little helmet skull thing. And this is like $2. So this is pretty good. Here's 11 stack right here for about 2 bones. So I'm actually really surprised. Only 1 page left of this. This is pretty good. I can't really explain why. I mean, I kind of can. It's really easy to pitch this to the grave. There's multiple avenues to pitch this to the grave, and then it just special summons itself, and it's not a once per turn. It doesn't get removed. I can see there just being some great fanatical synchro plays for this card. And honestly, I remember it being a lot more expensive. $2 is really not that bad, especially seeing how there's an 11 stack right here. So I would definitely take that into consideration if I were you guys. I think that this is definitely one of the MVPs of Dual Terminal 2 that a lot of people aren't looking at. I personally have a lot of belief in that card, and I'm probably going to go and pick up some of these as well. Next card is going to be Dark Necrofear. So I love the artwork in this. It's just fantastic artwork. Of course, she's a Dark level 8 Fiend, so perfect stats for Dark World and you know, trade and target, advanced draw, some turbo shenanigans if you guys want. This is my favorite version. Of course, you have the Labyrinth of Nightmare First Edition Ultras, which are, you know, getting up there in price for collector's value. You have, I want to say, I think maybe it's Master Collection, either Volume 1 or Volume 2. It has a secret rare, which looks really great too, which I'll actually go into in a little bit because I want to show you guys, because I really do appreciate the artwork. Overall, the artwork is just I love like this like alien, like creepy like artwork, and it's really great. So there's a 6 stack here for about 130. Here's a 7 stack for about 159. Only 2 pages left of this, so this is definitely getting chewed up. There used to be 6, 7 plus pages on even not even that long ago, maybe like 2 years ago or even a year ago. Now it's definitely starting to dry up, as well as most cards here in Dual Terminal. Really quickly, I do want to show you guys the promo secret rares though, because those are just so beautiful. I do love definitely the Dual Terminal rares are definitely my favorite prints, but the second place would definitely go. Of course, you have the amazing original prints, but they're really expensive because Labyrinth of Nightmare is just so old, and first editions are hard to come by now. Master Collection Volume 1 was the set, and this just looks so fantastic in Secret Rare, and this is even cheaper. I mean, as it should be. It's going to be cheaper than a Dual Terminal, especially a rare Dual Terminal. But not really too many big stacks on this, and only 3 pages, so people have kind of started to notice this. Definitely started slowly taking a swing at this card, and it's still really cheap. There's only 3 pages left now, and I just think that this is another great print. This and the Dual Terminal are definitely my favorite prints of Dark Necrofear. And there was a set that came out, Legendary Duelist set, was Bakura or whatever that set was, that gained us a little bit more support specifically for Dark Necrofear, which is pretty good. It's unfortunate that majority of the stuff is like Ultra, because I'm not really a big fan of the Ultra stuff, and that's like a Generation 1 old school print, but it is what it is. Moving on here, Mark of the Rose is pretty cool, but we have Ultimate Rare prints, which I'm actually kind of curious really quick. These are really nice. I think these are even rares too, so yeah, these aren't even commons, they're rare, so it's very nice. And this is just great, plant fodder. Really awesome artwork too, just phenomenal. Like, I love the little vampire artwork we got going on here. These are about a bone. They quickly go up to about 2, and here's a 4 stack, and it goes up after that. So only 2 pages left, but I am curious to see what the ultimate rares are going for, because those had some pretty great hype for quite a while. People were talking about, and granted, just being an old school ultimate in general, it's always going to hold a pretty significant amount of value. It doesn't look like I'm going to be able to pull it up like this, so really quick. I am curious to see what the ultimates are looking at, because these are just so gorgeous. Crossroads of Chaos was, the set that we got Black Rose Dragon, which is one of the most infamous and one of my personal favorite synchros. So fun times. They're about $7, so $7. Here's a 6 stack for about 7 plus for the ultimate version. So that's not that bad, honestly, for what it is for first editions. Ultimate Rare's highest rarity, and Crossroads of Chaos is just a really cool set. I think that is not too bad. People say this is a situational card. Not a lot of people play it, but it's got a lot going for it. Plants have always been a big fan favorite deck, and they've had a lot of diversity, a lot of different plays that they can go into, especially with the dominance of the synchro plays. And it's got fantastic artwork. So you got the DT prints, and you got the ultimate rare prints, so you guys can check that out. This card's pretty cool too. This is a really old school card. You guys can go and check it out later if you want, but this is the Dual Terminal prints. And well, actually, really quick, I'm just going to check it out. I've got 5 pages to go through, so this is definitely going to be a little bit of a longer video. I apologize if you guys aren't a fan of longer videos, but I do want to go relatively pre-descriptive with this set, and it is pretty lengthy, being a 100 card set here. So it's about $1 plus, and only 2 pages again. So all of these cards, again, people are starting to get noticed. This is just an old school card. Love the artwork, and this is a really old school Floodgate. And this is the highest version that we have, if I'm not mistaken, if I'm remembering correctly. But this card even used to be cheaper. I remember when it was like a quarter, if that, and it was pretty bulky. There's a lot of fat stacks. So that was the first page. Moving on through here with Dual Terminal 2. Let's see what else we got. Barrel Dragon's super rare. I think this kind of has potential. Now, Barrel Dragon's just awful. It's just a god-awful card. Now, back in the day, it was really cool. Like, the original print Ultra Rare from Metal Raiders was really nice. Same with Axe of Despair. People, I think, have been talking about this card. I personally don't like this Twilight Rose Knight. I just don't really like this card. But Goblin Zombie's pretty cool. So, I'm an Advent Zombie player. People don't really proc this anymore. They don't really run this. I think a lot of players kind of think this is kind of like an inferior, like old school zombie card, but it was very, very predominant for a long time. And I'm not really sure what other versions that we have here. You guys can check that out if you want later, but this is the dual terminal version, and dual terminal is great. This is like $1, and it goes up to about 3. Only 2 pages left of that. So I'm an Advent fan. Like, I really liked zombies, but I really got into zombies when Zombie Horde came out, with the new support, with just Banshee and Balroach and all that. It made zombies a lot easier to pilot and just a lot more fun. Really quickly, so Jirak Monolith. So this is, I actually forgot about this card. So this is, I would actually kind of consider this, of course it's a dinosaur card, and Jirak is its own, deck by itself, but I would consider this an anti-meta card, and I'm going to tell you why. Because, for me it is, because personally I used to run this. There was another card that had a similar effect. It's probably going to be on here, maybe. Alio was like, when dinosaurs first came out, were super big. The dual terminal Alio was insane. Like, it's probably still kind of pretty pricey, honestly. I can't remember. It was like a secret rare card from a pretty old set. But anyway, you would just basically take this and you would bust it out with, where is it? Moon Mirror Shield. And you would just run over all your opponent's monsters because it can attack everything. And again, this is the dual terminal version. Pretty cool artwork too. So that's what I used to do. I would just slap this with some attack boost. And it's also a tuner too, which I actually kind of forgot about. It's a level 3 tuner, which is really cool. So it's a tuner. It can smack all your opponent's monsters in the face, and if it's got the right firepower, it can be pretty devastating. It can clear boards. And it's about $2 roughly, and there's not really a bunch of stacks. First stack is like here. It's a 4 for about 1.5. And there's only 2 pages left, so I would definitely appreciate this card. I think it definitely has great potential, and it deserves some spotlight, so I decided to give it some love in the video today. Alright, so moving along here, Mist Valley Falcon's pretty cool. Always kind of liked the Mist Valley stuff. Never personally built it, but I thought it was pretty great. And again, there is a lot of cards here that I'm going to be reviewing, so I may not get to like every single card. Put in the comments below if you guys like a certain card that I didn't really review. Acid Rain's pretty cool. It's an old school card, but all these great dual terminal rarities. Ivy Shackles, I actually reviewed that in my video yesterday. Moving on to page 4, I really don't think there's going to be anything else that's going to be too blowout or impressive to feature. I am going to take a look at Hero Merges. I think this card is extremely underrated. Now it is a trap, so it's a little bit slower. But just the sheer fact that under the right conditions, you can bust out any boss monster in your hand as long as it meets the summoning condition. And this has really great artwork, and this is a really old card. It's pretty cool, and of course this being the DT version, which I'm pretty sure is still the highest print. There's really not a whole lot of prints of this. It's a really old school card, and it's like a quarter. And here's a fat stack here at 52 for about $1.10, so only 2 pages left. It seems to be like definitely a popular trend, at least for Dual Terminal 2. A lot of these cards, more specifically the ones I'm personally highlighting, there's only about 2 pages. There's not really a whole lot of them that have more than 2 pages on the market, so it's pretty interesting to see this transition in the game where dual terminal is finally, as everyone had highly anticipated, starting to dry up and hold some pretty great value. So that's going to be pretty much it for Dual Terminal 2. Moving on here, there's 2 archetypes that I wanted to review. The first one is going to be Infernity. and this is a really great deck core. This deck used to run rampant. Now, I wasn't playing the game when Verdi's were at full power, and to my understanding, they wrecked some pretty heavy havoc. They did a lot of crazy things. I love this deck. Again, this is just another Fiend-centric deck, Dark Fiend deck, and I'm a big fan of Dark Fiend decks, especially Dark World. And this is just a really great old school deck. I definitely think that there was such a huge fan base behind this deck, and this deck was just so great in its prime. I definitely think it could see some new support eventually. I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon. Doom Dragon is an alternate rare, so it's holding pretty great price value. Surprisingly enough, the dual turn version of Necromancer only had a common other print. There's really not any other print, so it makes sense that this just is like in limited quantities, so that's why his card's always been really good money. Same with Mirage. Mirage is a solo print, super rare, which really quick I'm just going to verify because I'm pretty sure that this is still a solo print. Yeah, it's still a solo print, super rare, so this is why this card is holding such a great price value. So Mirage and Necromancer are really going to be the only ones that are going to be kind of like pull on your resources for, but they are really great. Again, this is old school first edition, super rare. DT always great. Really quick, I want to take a look at Infernary Barrier because this is flexed in price so much. I think I went in and got these at 5 for first edition Lily Blades. I think 5 was kind of the generic price point that I got these. I got a couple copy of these personally. The Unlimiteds already go up to almost about 10. And the first edition, there's a French first edition, all the way up at 25. So these have increased like crazy. So first editions we're going to get is going to be 25. So these have definitely seen some great growth, and I'm really happy about that because I really like this card a lot. There is a super rare reprint that is pretty much like nothing. It's super cheap because of course these are the original print secrets, but I mean that's just the way the game works. You know, high rarity being older, more value. Our Infernity Archfiend, this is a really big card for the deck, and this is a rare from Dual Terminal 7. This is still to the day really cheap. I've bought in like so many of these because you need this. You pretty much always run this at 3. At least I'm pretty sure the old builds used to run this at 3 because this is just such a good card, such a good engine starter. And it's kind of interesting. Maybe I thought this was a rare. It looks like a rare. Like right here, it looks like it has silver lettering, but I guess maybe, I don't know, unless this is an error. Apparently, this is a common. And this is about $1. This is about $1 before you factor in shipping. Not really a whole lot of stacks, and only 3 pages left of this. But that is just very surprising still how affordable this card is for what it is, being old, being dual terminal, and just being such a big card in this deck. And there's definitely, I think, a very like secret hidden layer of big player base that love this deck, you know, just as much as I do. The Stardust Accelerators promo ultra is pretty cool too, but again, I would much rather, you know, go for the dual terminal one. We got the Deuce of reprint of Launcher, but personally I prefer the original print supers because, you know, it's original print. And really quick, let's just take a look. I'm curious to see what the first editions are. The Dual Sagas are very nice. Again, you check that set out. I talk about it all the time. I really praise Dual Saga a lot. It's the only set in the TCG to merit that special ultra rare foiling with like the laser beam waves. Pretty cool. It's about 2+, or roughly around 2 if you factor in shippings, at least for this one of. And then there's 4 pages left, so you guys can dip into that later on if you want. Next is going to be Gravekeepers. So there's nothing better than some good old dark spellcasters. And this is really great. In my video yesterday, I talked relatively in depth about Pharaonic Guardian, and that was actually the original core set that dawned the genesis of Gravekeepers for us in this game. Of course, we have the super rare Spy from Champion Pack 3, which is just ridiculous. Like, this is silly. Don't get this card. Yes, I get it. There wasn't a lot produced, and it's really hard to get. It's worth a lot of money, but that's the whole point. Like, there is a dual terminal version I'm going to show you. there is a secret rare version and there's an ultra rare version, but no one really cares about the rare. There's a secret rare version and there is a dual tone version. That's not even a common, it's a rare, and it's still very, very affordable, and I would much rather have a secret rare or a dual tone rare over even the super rare, even though super rare does look nice, but not for like 100 plus. I do want to check out Gravekeeper's Commandant, because this is one of the key searchers of the deck, and it is also Anubis. Again, I'm a big fan of Egyptian themed stuff, and Anubis is my favorite Egyptian god. I think he's badass, so I really like Commandant a lot. And of course, this is the ultimate rare version. Breaker, Force of the Breaker, really, really old set. Unlimited start off at almost 23, and no first editions on the first page. Let's see if we can find some on the second page. The first edition is 80 bones. And it goes to 81, and then it goes all the way up to a price point that no one's going to buy. This is ridiculous. This person's out of their mind. But yeah, $80. $80 for Ultimate Rare Commandant it's pretty incredible. I don't know if I have 2 playsets or 1 playset of this. I know I at least have 3 copies of it. I can't remember if I went and got a second playset over time, but really, really happy that I have at least, I know I have at least a set of these. The ultra rares are really great too. Those are holding pretty great price points, same as the ultra rare reprints of Recruiter and Gravekeeper's Servant. So this actually isn't a direct correlating Gravekeeper's card. There's a lot of cool combos you can do with this, with like Macrocosmos and like Dimensional Fissure and Banisher of the Radiance, Banisher of the Light. Another great stall combo that you can use. Great defensive tactic for anti-meta decks or removal decks in general. I would definitely go for the original prints from Magic Ruler though, specifically. Here's the secret rare versions of Spy, which are actually, they've kind of gone up a little bit. I remember these were like $0.25, $0.50, like all day long, and it looks like they're about a couple bones now, which doesn't surprise me because again, Legendary Collections 4, it's not getting any younger. This is an amazing set. I talk about it in probably almost every single video. Please go check out Legendary Collections 4 and 3. There's just amazing cards and amazing rarities all throughout both those sets. They ran relatively parallel. Most of them are kind of the same rarities, the same prints. So these are about 2 bones. So yeah, they're definitely seen a significant price increase from what they were. There's only 3 pages of that. So no surprise, Spy is a very, very ideal card for this deck. I don't really see any Gravekeeper players not running a playset of her. She is a great engine starter. And one of the first old school, like kind of special summon from your deck thing, like before her, I think we just had like Mystic Tomato and what was the Angel one for light? But anyway, so really quick, I just kind of wanted to kind of do a turbo flash of this. Gravekeepers are an amazing deck, really easy to pilot. They do have, really quickly, I do want to take a look at Steel, which is the recycle card, and what's the tribute card, the blowout card, where you can just like destroy your opponent's hand. Steel, this is the recycle card, still really cheap. Here's the dual terminal rares. So really quick, I wanted to show you guys again. So you have 2 really great healthy alternatives from the super rare. You have this dual terminal rare. Again, it's a rare, not a common, which makes it really great. And this is definitely starting to get chewed up on the market as well. Only 2 pages. I remember when there was like 5+ pages of this card. This card was like a quarter of $1, $0.50, like all day long. Now it's about a little bit over $1, which does not surprise me. It took forever, but finally people are starting to respect and give credit to this card because it's a dual terminal rare and it's Spy, and this is such an ideal card. And again, great Gravekeepers. I think there's kind of like Gravekeepers, like you either love Gravekeepers or you hate Gravekeepers. I'm definitely on the train that loves them. Here's the original print, original Gravekeeper's Servant. Now, I don't know if this is like a real thing, but I have noticed, like you can see here, like the Dark Legends prints, it has the censored tombstones here, whereas like the Dark Beginning, Spell Ruler, and Magic Ruler prints actually have the crucifix cross gravestone. So I don't really know what happened here. I don't know like the full details of the story. Obviously, sometimes censorship or uncensorship kind of falls through the cracks of checks and services, I guess. But really fantastic artwork again. I'm thinking about possibly projecting a tattoo off this artwork. One of my tattoos was actually based off of Call of the Haunted, and I really like this artwork a lot. I'm really into like Halloweeny, like Halloween, October, like spooky themed stuff. So we'll see what happens with that in the future. Okay, so Steel, Spy, and then what is the card I'm thinking of? It's the one where you pitch all the monsters in the hand. Royal Tribute, I think is what it was called. There's an ultra rare print, and there was a common print, and I don't know if I just like missed it or like what's going on here. It's cool they got a field center card here. Alright, I must have missed it. Maybe it didn't have an image. Why is it not? Maybe it's not bringing up Royal Tribute because it doesn't actually have Gravekeepers in its name. Anyway, it's a Gravekeepers card. I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, it's called Royal Tribute. It was on the list forever. I think I know it got. I don't know if it went to either 3 or 2. It was on 1, hit to limited to 1 for the longest time, but it's been alleviated, so it's definitely made this deck a lot better. Next is going to be Moon Mirror Shield. If you guys aren't familiar with this card, let's take a look at this really quick. Of course, we have the original prints. There was a common print, a Mega 2016 print, reprint, and then the original rares, of course, Dawning from Crossed Souls. I call this the Red Pack. This was a really great set. If I'm not mistaken, correct me in the comments below. I can't remember, but I want to say Crossed Souls was the last core booster set that we got before they made the transition set where they took away Ghost and Ultimate Rares and messed with the ratios and started putting in Super Rares in every pack and all that. I'm pretty sure that this was a transition set, which makes this really special on its own merit alone. But this is just an amazing card. A lot of the decks that I run, I've been messing around a lot with, I call it Dark Dolls. Basically, I'm blending Dark World with Shadolls. And I always tech one of these in, and this is a huge card. You know, I always play a playset of these in my anti-meta build. This is just an amazing card. You can run over anything, essentially, with this. It's got pretty cool artwork, too. And this is, you know, it's just a really great card. It's probably just because I'm a really big anti-meta player, so that's why I like this card so much. But it's like about $2 if you want to factor in shipping. And this is the original print in all its glory, and there's 5 pages left of this card. So the next kind of cards are going to be kind of like anti-meta support cards. Dimension Guardian is going to be the next one. You got this Crap Gold, the original Ultra Rares, and the Secret Rare. I guess apparently this was a special edition promo, but there's first edition prints like all across the board for the market prices. So it's really interesting. I don't really know how that works out, because if it was a true special edition promo, those are unlimiteds or limited edition and with unlimited packs. So I don't really know if this is like an error or what's going on with that, but personally I think this is the best version of this, being, you know, just a normal secret rare. And for the longest time I always thought that this card rendered Safe Zone useless, because it doesn't destroy the monster. If this gets popped off, you still get your monster, whereas Safe Zone, another great card, it's got, you know, 2 super rares. 2 commons, 1 ultra, but the best being the original print super rare out of Extreme Victory. This was an amazing set. Pretty sure we got Tour Guide out of this set. So really amazing set. Great history behind that. So Safe Zone, the monster gets destroyed. When this gets destroyed, your monster gets destroyed, and then also your monster cannot attack directly, which is very huge negs for me. And for the longest time, that's why I figured, oh man, Dimension Guardian rendered Safe Zone pretty much inferior. Like, I don't even know why they made Safe Zone, because this card's literally better in every way, because when this card is destroyed, it doesn't destroy your monster, and you can also still attack directly and slap your opponent in the face directly, which is pretty great. But the thing is with Safe Zone is they can't be targeted. So the monster can't be targeted or destroyed by your opponent's card effects, which makes it a lot more diverse. So like, as an example, if they bust out like a Blackluster Soldier and they try to remove from play your face-up Fossil Dyna, they can't do that, because they can't target it with effects or destroy it. So in that situation, Safe Zone would be more ideal. as far as like it getting like Regeki'd or Dark Hold or whatever it may be, other destruction effects, this is going to be your ideal choice. Personally, I prefer, even though that Safe Zone is a little bit more of a diverse protection per se. Plus, you can kind of make do a reverse backfire on this because you can't attack directly on this. You can basically set this. If your opponent is going for a big slap with a beast monster, you can just flip this up, equip it to it, and they can't attack you directly, and it can be kind of used as a defensive card that way. But the negs of this, literally your monster gets destroyed, like if they MST it, Twin Twister it, whatever it may be, Heavy Dust Storm, it destroys what you're trying to defend. So personally, and that you can attack directly if you're not using it defensively, if it's because this is an offensive card naturally. Depending on how you use it, I mean, it's defending your monsters, but your monsters are provoking your opponent with the floodgate monsters that you use on this. But anyway, I would much prefer this one. I'm not saying I hate Safe Zone. I definitely have corrected myself. Safe Zone is definitely not inferior to Dimension Guardian. It's just different. It's got a different play style. And I do personally do run Dimension Guardian in my anti-meta decks over Safe Zone, though. Maybe that'll change. But as of right now, this is super cheap. It's like a dime all across the board. A lot of fat stacks and 5+ pages on that. With Safe Zone, original print supers, first edition is about barely $1. If that, you got to factor in shipping, and then there's 5+ pages. So they're both extremely cheap cards and pretty special on their own merit alone. Last card I'm going to feature here is going to be Lost Wind. So we have the original rares from Raging Tempest, really crazy set. We got Zodiacs from that. It was a terrible time in Yu-Gi-Oh! I really did not like Zodiac format at full power. It was very troublesome. But 2017 Megatins, OTS Pack Super Rares 5, which was actually my favorite. I guess Dual Devastator, Dawned, and Ultra Rare, which I wasn't even aware of. And Shadal Showdown. An amazing structure deck, got a common. So let's take a look at what I think would be the best, even though the Ultras would be technically a higher rarity. You guys kind of know my rule on this. OTS Format Pack 5, not as much produced, definitely not as much on the market, definitely harder to get, and even though it is just a super rare, and personally speaking, there's a lot of cards that I prefer in super rare over ultra rare to a certain extent per se. If you guys don't know this card effect, read it. This is like you can use this card twice. It basically cuts something in half, and it's like an effect veiler doppled with a Blackwing Gale. It just cuts it in half. It's great. It's a very diverse card. It's got really cool artwork, and this card is insanely cheap. It's like $1. A little over $1 if you factor in shipping, and there's 5 pages of this. So I think this is really underrated. No one's really talking about this card. People have used it in and out, but it's so good, and maybe it's kind of just the anti-meta player coming out, but this card is really great, so I definitely wanted to highlight it. Thank you so much for watching these videos. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. Please stay safe out there. This has been a showcasing by The White Mexican, and I will see you in the next video.